Hollywood's biggest stars shine on screen, but off it, some couldn't stand each other long enough to fake a smile. Explosive feuds, bitter grudges, and legendary showdowns nearly derailed their careers. Take Mad Max, Fury Road, where Tom Hardy and Charlize Theron's behind-the-scenes clash almost outdid the movie's fiery stunts. The movie was filmed in the scorching Namibian desert with temperatures soaring and tempers flaring. Hardy, known for his intense method acting, was already under pressure to fill Mel Gibson's shoes as Mad Max, while Theron was grappling with embodying the strong, battle-hardened Furiosa. But when you put two fiery personalities like Hardy and Theron together in such extreme conditions, something was bound to blow. It all reached a breaking point when Hardy showed up hours late to the set one day. Theron, who was already frustrated with Hardy's behavior, snapped. According to reports, she yelled at Hardy in front of the whole crew, calling him disrespectful and unprofessional. Hardy fired back, and the argument became so heated that the two couldn't even be in the same room without a mediator for the rest of the shoot. Crew members described the atmosphere as toxic, with the two leads barely speaking to each other between takes. Charlize later reflected on the feud, saying, "It was like two parents in the front of a car who just needed to get their kids safely to the end of the road." Hardy, in a surprising twist, admitted that he was probably the problem, confessing that he wasn't prepared for the pressure of the role. Talk about some heavy Hollywood honesty. Despite their off-screen battle, Mad Max, Fury Road became a critical and box office success, and their volatile chemistry actually worked to the film's advantage. But it's safe to say these two won't be jumping at the chance to work together again anytime soon. Speaking of actors who couldn't see eye to eye, things got even more heated on another set, where tempers flared between two unexpected stars. Charlie's Angels, 2000, was a fun, action-packed reboot of the classic TV series, but behind the scenes, one of the most surprising Hollywood feuds was brewing between comedy legend Bill Murray and actress Lucy Liu. You'd think that a lighthearted movie like Charlie's Angels would be all about camaraderie and laughs, right? Well, not quite. Things got tense during one infamous day on set when Murray, known for his dry wit and sarcasm, reportedly interrupted a scene to critique Liu's acting. According to multiple sources, Murray pointed at Liu mid-scene and asked, "What in the hell are you doing here? You can't act." Now, that's brutal. And let's not forget that Lucy Liu was already dealing with the pressure of playing a lead role in a major Hollywood film. Liu, understandably, wasn't about to take that kind of criticism without a fight. According to insiders, she stood up, furious, and the two exchanged some heated words. Things escalated quickly, and Liu allegedly took a swing at Murray, with the altercation almost turning physical. It was a shocking turn for a set that was supposed to be all about girl power and fun action sequences. After the dust settled, it became clear that this rift wasn't going to heal anytime soon. By the time the sequel, Charlie's Angels Full Throttle, 2003, went into production, Murray was out, replaced by comedian Bernie Mac. Neither Murray nor Liu has spoken in depth about the feud since, but it's clear that their on-set clash was one of the most unexpected in Hollywood history. Speaking of blockbuster franchises with behind-the-scenes tension, another major feud revved up when Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson joined the Fast and Furious family in 2011. He brought a fresh wave of energy to the blockbuster series. Fans loved his character Hobbs, and Johnson quickly became one of the franchise's biggest stars. But not everyone was thrilled with his arrival, especially one Vin Diesel, the original face of the Fast and Furious family. As the films grew bigger, so did the egos behind the scenes. By the time The Fate of the Furious, 2017, was filming, tension between The Rock and Diesel had reached a breaking point. It all started with a now infamous Instagram post by Johnson where he praised his female co-stars but took a not-so-subtle dig at some of his male counterparts, calling them candy asses and criticizing their lack of professionalism. Though he didn't name names, the message was clearly directed at Diesel. According to sources, Diesel's habit of showing up late to set and his attempts to control every aspect of production rubbed Johnson the wrong way. The Rock, known for his military-like discipline, couldn't stand Diesel's laid-back attitude. The tension grew so thick that the two actors reportedly refused to film any scenes together, and the production had to get creative with camera angles and editing to make it seem like they were in the same room. Despite their feud, both stars played it cool during the film's promotional tour. Diesel downplayed the drama, calling it tough love between brothers, while The Rock hinted that there was no love lost between them. Fast forward to 2019, and Johnson was off making his own Fast and Furious spin-off, Hobbs and Shaw, while Diesel continued to lead the main series. The feud seems far from over, and with both actors still heavily involved in Hollywood, it's only a matter of time before they cross paths again. The tension behind the scenes wasn't limited to action franchises. Another notorious clash unfolded on the set of a magical TV hit in the late 90s. When Charmed hit TV screens in 1998, it quickly became a fan favorite. The supernatural drama about three witch sisters was a perfect mix of magic, sisterhood, and epic battles against evil. But off-screen, the real battle was between two of the show's stars, Shannon Doherty and Alyssa Milano. Doherty, who had previously been known for her dramatic exit from Beverly Hills 90210, brought her fiery reputation to Charmed. Alyssa Milano, on the other hand, was considered the fun-loving, laid-back co-star. Unfortunately, the differences in their personalities led to a serious clash. By the third season, tensions between the two actresses had escalated to the point where they could hardly stand to be in the same room together. Rumors about their feud spread quickly, with reports of on-set arguments and frosty silences between takes. The crew was reportedly caught in the middle, and it became clear that something had to give. That something turned out to be Doherty, who left the show at the end of Season 3 under a cloud of speculation. Although Doherty claimed she left to pursue other projects, insiders confirmed that her feud with Milano was the real reason behind her departure. The two have since spoken publicly about their tense relationship, with Milano admitting that their rivalry created a toxic atmosphere on set. However, they've both acknowledged that time has helped heal some of the wounds. But in Hollywood, as we know, the drama never truly disappears. You'd think that playing one of cinema's most iconic couples would bring actors closer together, but for Ryan Gosling and Rachel McAdams, their off-screen relationship during the filming of The Notebook was anything but romantic. In fact, it was downright icy. The year was 2004, and The Notebook was set to become one of the most beloved love stories of the decade. But behind the scenes, Gosling and McAdams were reportedly at each other's throats. Things got so bad during the early days of filming that Gosling actually requested that the director, Nick Cassavetes, find another actress to play Allie. Yes, you heard that right. He wanted McAdams fired. Cassavetes later revealed that during one particularly difficult scene, Gosling pulled him aside and asked, "Would you take her out of here and bring in another actress to read off camera with me?" The tension between the two actors was palpable, and the production was on the brink of disaster. In a desperate attempt to salvage the situation, Cassavetes decided to put them in a room together and let them air out their grievances. What followed was a heated shouting match, but somehow it worked. After their fiery confrontation, the two stars managed to channel their tension into the film, resulting in some of the most emotionally charged performances of their careers. Ironically, Gosling and McAdams went on to date for a few years after the film's release, proving that sometimes love really does grow out of conflict. But not every on-set feud ends with a romantic twist. As the following incident involving one of Hollywood's most beloved actors proves, George Clooney is known as one of Hollywood's most likable actors. But even he couldn't avoid a legendary on-set clash with director David O. Russell during the filming of Three Kings in 1999. The film, set during the Gulf War, was already a tense project due to its controversial subject matter, but the real conflict came from behind the camera. Russell, known for his intense directing style and fiery temper, frequently clashed with his cast and crew. Clooney, who had recently transitioned from TV's ER to the big screen, was determined to make the film a success. However, Russell's constant outbursts and aggressive behavior toward crew members eventually pushed Clooney over the edge. One day, things came to a head when Clooney witnessed Russell berating an extra on set. Unable to hold back any longer, Clooney stepped in to defend the crew, and what followed was one of the most infamous on-set brawls in Hollywood history. The two men got into a physical altercation, with punches being thrown, and the situation quickly spiraled out of control. Clooney later described the experience as the worst of my life. while Russell acknowledged that his behavior on set was far from ideal. Although they eventually finished the film, the feud left a lasting mark on both men's careers. Clooney has since vowed never to work with Russell again. And while both have gone on to enjoy great success, their fight remains a cautionary tale about the dangers of creative differences in Hollywood. But not all famous feuds stayed behind the camera. Some spilled into public view, like the long-running conflict that unfolded between two stars of a beloved 90s sitcom. The story of the Fresh Prince of BelAir is one of laughter, family, and success. But behind the scenes, the relationship between Will Smith and Janet Hubert, the original Aunt Viv, was anything but harmonious. What started as a groundbreaking, beloved sitcom in the 1990s became the setting for one of the most publicized feuds in television history. Janet Hubert was known for her powerful portrayal of the tough but loving Aunt Viv in the show's early seasons. However, when she left the series in 1993, rumors quickly swirled that her departure was due to a major fallout with Will Smith. For years, Hubert was vocal about blaming Smith for her exit, accusing him of spreading rumors that she was difficult to work with. According to Hubert, Smith's influence on the show was so powerful that her reputation in Hollywood took a hit, making it harder for her to find roles. The feud didn't stay quiet. Over the next 2 decades, Hubert and Smith traded jabs through interviews and social media, with Hubert often calling Smith an egomaniac and accusing him of sabotaging her career. Will, on the other hand, kept his comments more lighthearted but didn't shy away from hinting at their tension. For years, their conflict became part of the public narrative surrounding the Fresh Prince. In a shocking twist, though, things took an unexpected turn in 2020. During the Fresh Prince reunion special, Hubert and Smith finally sat down to address their long-standing feud. In a deeply emotional conversation, Hubert revealed how hurt she was by the way things played out, and Smith, now older and wiser, admitted that he was too young and immature at the time to understand how his actions affected others. The reconciliation was raw, and fans were surprised to see both stars finally bury the hatchet after nearly 3 decades of animosity. The once bitter feud became a powerful example of how time can heal old wounds, but it's a reminder that even in the world of sitcoms and laughter, real-life tensions can run deep. That was certainly the case with 2 young stars who brought Shakespearean drama to life, both on and off the set. If you're a fan of Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet, then you probably remember the undeniable chemistry between Leonardo DiCaprio and Claire Danes in the 1996 film adaptation. The film, directed by Baz Luhrmann, became an instant hit, but while audiences swooned over the love story, things weren't exactly rosy behind the scenes. At the time, DiCaprio was the rising heartthrob in Hollywood, with a reputation for being a bit of a prankster. Danes, meanwhile, was serious about her craft, and the differences in their personalities clashed almost immediately. According to reports, Danes found DiCaprio's playful antics on set to be distracting and immature. She preferred to stay focused and professional, while DiCaprio, who was still in his early 20s, liked to joke around with the cast and crew. The tension between them was so palpable that it extended beyond their time on set. Even when the cameras stopped rolling, the two reportedly kept their distance from one another, with Danes avoiding DiCaprio's high-energy personality. In later interviews, DiCaprio described Danes as very reserved, while Danes admitted that she found DiCaprio too immature at the time to form a real connection. Despite their off-screen distance, their on-screen chemistry was undeniable, and the film went on to become a box office success. The tension between DiCaprio and Danes never escalated into a full-blown feud, but it was enough to create a lingering sense of discomfort on set. Once filming wrapped, the two went their separate ways, and while they never worked together again, their version of Romeo and Juliet remains one of the most iconic adaptations of Shakespeare's timeless tragedy. Few pairings have been as problematic as the one between Bruce Willis and Kevin Smith. Hollywood is filled with odd pairings, but the partnership between Bruce Willis and director Kevin Smith for the 2010 action comedy Cop Out seemed like it could work. Willis, an established action star, and Smith, a comedic filmmaker, were expected to create a fun, memorable film. But instead of laughs, the movie became known for the heated feud between its star and director. Kevin Smith, who had long admired Willis for his roles in films like Die Hard, was excited to work with him. However, things quickly went south. According to Smith, Willis was difficult to work with from the start. He refused to take direction, constantly clashed with Smith about the film's tone, and didn't seem interested in collaborating with the rest of the cast and crew. Smith was outspoken about his frustration, later describing the experience as soul-crushing. He admitted that working with Willis was one of the most challenging experiences of his career, saying that Willis made it clear he wasn't a fan of Smith's directing style. The tension grew so thick that Smith later revealed he dreaded coming to set each day. Willis, on the other hand, has never publicly addressed the feud in detail, choosing instead to stay quiet about the film and his working relationship with Smith. While Cop Out was eventually released, the tension behind the scenes overshadowed the film's success, and the experience left a bitter taste for Smith. He's since expressed that he wouldn't work with Willis again, and the feud remains one of Hollywood's more unexpected conflicts. But if there's one film that's synonymous with behind-the-scenes tension, it's Stanley Kubrick's 1980 horror masterpiece, The Shining. The psychological thriller, based on Stephen King's novel, is known for its chilling atmosphere and iconic performances, particularly from Jack Nicholson and Shelley Duvall. But while Nicholson thrived under Kubrick's demanding direction, Duvall suffered through one of the most grueling filming experiences in Hollywood history. Kubrick was notorious for being a perfectionist, and during the filming of The Shining, he pushed Duvall to her absolute limit. One of the most infamous examples of this was the iconic bat scene, where Duvall's character is swinging a bat at Nicholson's menacing Jack Torrance. Kubrick forced Duvall to film the scene a record-breaking 127 times, pushing her to exhaustion both mentally and physically. The relentless pressure took a toll on Duvall. She later described the experience as torture, admitting that the stress of working under Kubrick's direction caused her hair to fall out and left her emotionally drained. Crew members recalled Duvall breaking down in tears on set, with Kubrick often berating her to get the performance he wanted. He would reportedly tell the crew to show her no sympathy, leaving her isolated and overwhelmed. Duvall's performance in The Shining is now hailed as one of the best in horror film history, but the price she paid to deliver that performance was steep. After the film's release, Duvall largely stepped away from Hollywood, with many attributing her departure to the traumatic experience of working with Kubrick. Tensions weren't exclusive to horror sets. On the set of Dirty Dancing, sparks of a different kind flew between its two leads, Patrick Swayze and Jennifer Grey. Things were far from harmonious, in fact. Their feud almost derailed the entire production. Swayze, who played the smooth, tough Johnny Castle, and Grey, the sweet and shy Francis Baby Houseman, were at odds from the start. Their tension reportedly stemmed from their previous work together on Red Dawn, 1984, where they didn't see eye to eye. Swayze, a trained dancer with a strong work ethic, found Grey's emotional approach to acting and lack of confidence in her dancing frustrating. Grey, on the other hand, felt intimidated by Swayze's strong personality and perfectionism. Swayze later detailed in his memoir that Grey would often burst into tears during rehearsals, which delayed production and heightened the tension on set. In one infamous incident during the filming of the film's iconic lift scene, Grey was so nervous that it took multiple takes to get it right, and Swayze grew increasingly frustrated. Despite the on-set difficulties, the two managed to put their differences aside long enough to complete the film, and their palpable tension translated into an electric on-screen dynamic. Dirty Dancing went on to become a massive hit, but their off-screen relationship remained cool at best. Interestingly, in later years, Grey spoke fondly of Swayze, acknowledging that while their relationship was strained, she respected his talent and dedication. Swayze, too, expressed regret that their working relationship wasn't smoother, but admitted that their real-life tension contributed to the film's success. And from dancing to desperate moments, this next rivalry was just as fiery behind the scenes when Desperate Housewives premiered in 2004. The show, which followed the lives of 5 women in the fictional suburb of Wisteria Lane, was full of drama, mystery, and scandal. But as it turns out, the drama wasn't just on screen. One of the biggest feuds behind the scenes involved Terry Hatcher and her fellow co-stars, particularly Marcia Cross, Eva Longoria, and Felicity Huffman. The tension started early on, with rumors swirling that Hatcher, who played Susan Mayer, had isolated herself from the rest of the cast. Hatcher, already an established star from her Lois and Clark days, reportedly rubbed her co-stars the wrong way with what they perceived as diva behavior. Things escalated when Hatcher was singled out in cast photos and promos, leading to resentment from the other actresses who felt she was being given preferential treatment. The feud came to a head during the 2005 Vanity Fair photo shoot, which became infamous for the behind-the-scenes drama that unfolded. According to sources, the shoot turned into a power struggle when Hatcher reportedly demanded to be placed in the center of the group, sparking a fierce argument. In response, Longoria, Cross, and Huffman reportedly banded together, demanding equal treatment and threatening to walk off the set if their concerns weren't addressed. Although the show remained a hit for 8 seasons, the tension between Hatcher and her co-stars lingered. By the time Desperate Housewives ended in 2012, it was clear that the cast's relationship had soured. During the show's farewell celebrations, Hatcher was noticeably absent from group interviews and social media posts, leading fans to speculate that the feud had never fully healed. Years later, Longoria confirmed the rift, referring to the set as toxic at times and admitting that not everyone got along. While Hatcher has mostly stayed silent on the subject, it's clear that the off-screen drama between the Desperate Housewives cast was just as intense as anything their characters faced on Wisteria Lane.